what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Talking It Up. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Talking It Up. I'm Pastor Maurice, the lead pastor of the Impact Worship Center. This is Pastor Elijah, the executive pastor, Impact Worship Center. And this is Pastor Timothy Russell, the senior pastor of New Hope Christian Fellowship. Listen, we're here. We're discussing life. We're talking about transitions, what to do when life changes. I want to give you this definition of the word transition. Movement, passage, or change from one position, stage, subject, concept, to another. And then there's another definition that simply says change. What do we do when things change? How do we navigate the changes, the transitions in our lives? That's what we've been talking about. We've been just kind of sharing some of our changes, the things we've gone through, and the best parts about it and the worst parts about it. We left off talking about the pandemic and how it had hit my house. My family took ill to the coronavirus, and we were quarantined. And we were struggling through sickness. My wife had it the worst. Her grandmother was in the hospital for a couple of weeks, but God was faithful, and we had to adapt. And one of the things I want to say is I had to learn to simply stand my ground as it pertained to my faith. One thing that cannot change when everything else changes is our faith and trust in God Almighty. And so we want to encourage you in that. We hope that through our discussions, your life is blessed, that you grab something that we say and take it as food for thought and take it as something to put into practice in your everyday life. So we've been talking just about the toughest parts of changes and the best parts of it. Pastor Tim, you're a senior pastor. You're also a working professional. And so that's two hats amongst the other hats you wear. And Pastor Elijah, you're a musician. You're a pastor. You're a working professional. You got other things you're doing as well. I'm a working professional. I'm a pastor. I've got other things I'm doing as well. And I want to ask the question, how have you adapted to these transitions? The world has changed. I'm going to talk about one thing that is my pet peeve, and that's wearing a mask. You know, I told my wife, I said, I'm not going back to church if I got to wear a mask in church. And that's just me. It's hot under there. It get foggy under there. But those are the things, some of the things, that's outward, it's physical, but those are some of the things that we're talking about, changes, things that have happened now that have never happened before. Like, what do we do with that? You got to wear a mask everywhere you go, and if you forget your mask, you got to go back and get it, or try to use your shirt to cover it. I mean, life has changed, man. Yeah. People are, and if we look at the world, I want to say two things. People are losing their minds. And also, people are revealing who they really are in these times. And so it's been tough. It's been tough times. So how have you adapted, Pastor Elijah? How have you adapted to these transitions, your personal transitions, the transitions in the world? How have you adapted to it, man?
Well, it's been a process like anything. I think the one thing that I haven't done is refused it. I think a lot of times when change happens, people want to refuse it. No, I'm not going to do it. And for some of those people who have done that, it's become worse for them. And so I think that one thing I've kind of realized is that you don't have to understand change to change. When something happens, we always try to understand the whole thing. We want to know upside down ways, right side, left side. We want to have the whole concept. And I've just decided I'm not going to do it. I'm going to operate in a place of obedience. I'm going to do what people ask me to do. I'll give you a good example is I'm a barber, and barber industry in California was shut down for 6 months. Okay, effectively, from the last day I cut hair was March 14th of 2020, and did not go back until it was the 3rd or 4th of September, which was a Friday, I believe. Now, there were many other shops that were open. They defied the pandemic. They were more concerned about their livelihood, and people should be. I have no commentary on that. But what the owner where I worked was like, we don't know. We're just gonna be obedient and be shut down in the city, and we understand that comes with a financial cost to do that. But I've tried not to try to understand everything. Like some things are just here, and in order for us to move forward, people use the phrase "back to normal." We won't go back to normal, but we can move forward to it.
Right.
And so in order for us to move forward, sometimes we have to just take what is being offered to us, operate in a level of obedience, and get through that challenge to the next thing. Yeah. And so we were talking about a sermon that we preached about navigating life seasons, and one thing that I said was that you have to be flexible. And so in the things I just said, that is my example of being flexible. I don't understand everything, but I have to be flexible through it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I don't know all the ins and outs of, listen, we've heard all of the conspiracy theories. We've heard about chemtrails and and people wanting to kill us through making us put on masks. They are very uncomfortable, especially I have to work 8 hours in the hospital. The mask must be on for the full 8 hours. That's incredibly challenging, but it is what it is. We have to move forward, and so again, being flexible is one thing that the Lord told me when I was writing that sermon, and boy, has He caused me to live it in a way that possibly I didn't really expect. Yeah. But we have to be flexible. Yes, we can't be resistant, and I am in my own life. All people are, but sometimes we can be so resistant to change that it really harms us in the end. Yeah. And we get stuck there. So.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, for me, when it comes to adapting, I wouldn't say I've struggled in every area. Like, not going anywhere, I haven't struggled in that area because I don't like to go anywhere anyway.
I like being home. I'm a homeboy.
I love being home. Like, you don't have to give me a government mandate to stay home. My wife is mad at me all the time because I won't go nowhere.
We love home, yeah.
But there's been places where you have to adapt. Like I said, having to wear a mask out in public, man. I've had to adapt to that, man. Just because it's you're not used to it. But I also see the revelation in it that we often have to go into places unknown and take the risk in certain areas, man, if we're going to see the benefit of it. That's right. And so there's been financial challenges, of course. There's been for me, I had to change my professional career. I was in the midst of it anyway. Yeah. When God gave me the word, it was time to get back to ministry. I decided there were some professional changes that needed to take place. But there was a time there, a good few weeks there, man, where my wife was really sick, man, and we were concerned about what was going to happen. And so, but God was faithful. Yeah. God was faithful. I think if any adapting for me, it's been outward, it's been physical. On the inside, man, I just trust God, man. Like, I thank God, Tim, Elijah, man, I thank God for how I was brought up, man. Yeah. It wasn't perfect, man, but I thank God for the foundation of faith that I got because it's helped and blessed me in this time. Like, so I'm unshaken. Yeah. I don't mean to sound cocky or arrogant in any way, but man, I'm not shaken by what's happening around me, man. I'm just unshaken because my philosophy, my feeling is, I just try to simplify things in my life, Tim. Yeah. If God want me here, He gonna take care of me. Yeah. If I'm supposed to be here in this season, this time, He gonna make sure I have what I need, and I have to live my life that way. Otherwise, I'll be careless and I'll do something stupid, man. Yeah. Tim, chime in, man. How have you adapted? Because it's been another level of change for you. Because you've been pastoring still.
Well, I'm glad you said that about how we were raised. Yeah. Our parents instilled in us the song, "I need thee, Lord. every hour. I need So I realized something that I had gotten away from that. You know, I can do church, man, in my sleep.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, can I say this?
Yeah, man.
I can do church in sin.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
I can do church.
And feel free to dive in and explain so people out there know what we mean when we say we can do church in our sleep.
But what I mean is the gift of the Lord on our lives and the gift and calling of the Lord is without repentance.
Without repentance.
And I realized that there was a lot of things that I was doing. Now, please understand, it doesn't mean I didn't love the Lord. It doesn't mean that, you know, I didn't want to spend eternity with him. But I realized there was a lot of things I was just going through the motion and was good at just going through the motion. Yeah. And people are like, oh, man, oh, God used you today. I'm like, okay. All right. Because my morning routine, before the pandemic was get my cup of coffee, you know, get ready to get out and be gone for 10, 12 hours, turn on First Take at ESPN in the morning to see them argue about sports.
Yep.
And that was my routine every single morning. And then I would be out on the road, and then I would, you know, have to come to the church, do church and all that. And then in the evening time, find time to give the Lord some time. Man, this pandemic changed things.
Yeah.
And it changed. What it did was every single morning now, I go, Alexa, put on this worship, put on Maverick City, put on Elevation Worship, put on it. And what I start the morning off is with worship. Yeah. I won't even turn on the television. Right. I don't care what ESPN is talking about or what CNN is talking about. I use worship as a time of getting before the Lord, reflecting. And I'm not like laying before the God praying. No. I'm just allowing the worship to feed my soul.
Right.
And what it's done for me is the Bible says that he'll keep those in perfect peace whose minds are stayed on him. Right. So worship sets my day up. I know people go out and work out in the morning and get their day. No, worship sets my day and allows me to have a day where the Lord now is leading and guiding me into all truth.
Right.
As a father, as a husband, as a pastor, and I'm saying that in that order because I had to learn how to be a husband and not just be like I'm a pastor that's a husband. Yeah, no, I had to be a husband that's a pastor. I had to be a father that's a pastor because I can preach a word, but if my son, who's 13-year-old, doesn't see me as a reflection of that word, then what am I doing? So that's how I've adapted.
And to some degree, you were forced to.
I was forced.
I mean, you find yourself now at home every day. That's the
Lord Jesus. No, I love being home. I love being home. I'm playing around. But it's just them kids eating up all the food.
Right. Yeah.
You haven't enough food in this season.
Yeah, we know what you mean. Yeah. But to some degree, we were forced.
Yeah.
Because you're used to being gone all day, and now you're home. Work is at home, and so everybody's together, and everybody's in front of you. I mean, you guys probably a little more than me because my schedule had kind of shortened anyway. My wife was sick, so that time she was sick, I wasn't even going to work.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going out here and there and whenever I wanted, but I wasn't even going to work. And then I decided I wasn't going to work for like a month and a half. Yeah. And God was faithful just because I wanted to, for me, without showing any fear or speaking any fear, I wanted to be home just in case.
That's good.
Just in case something happened. And what this time taught me was what really, really matters. What really matters. You know. Yeah. And so to some degree we were all, I feel like, and some of you, you're like us. To some degree we're all forced to go deal with some things that we maybe necessarily didn't want to deal with or we're trying to avoid or just had put off of our minds. It's been a time of adapting. Yeah. You know, it's been a time of change. And life is changing.
Yes.
Life is changing. You mentioned Pastor Elijah, people wanting to go back, and you know the truth is we're not going back.
No.
You know, the church, we're not going back. Pastor, how have you adapted as a pastor? What's had to change for the church, for New Hope? Because we're an online ministry. We don't gather physically. I mean, we gather with you, and we've been coming together for worship. But how's the church adapted?
Well, it's adapted because we really directed people to understand that we are an online ministry now. We will continue to be an online and television ministry, which is different for people because, again, they were used to coming and hearing the symbols and talking to people and gathering outside. So I really encourage them to understand that we're not going back, even when we come back.
Yeah.
We're not going to put the focus in on the gathering at the building. We're going to put the focus in on the gathering of our hearts in focus to the Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I appreciate it. Listen, you heard him say it. I think we all have to take that mentality. We're not going back.
Yeah.
Transitions, I believe, are necessary.
Yep.
And Pastor Tim, you talked about it a little bit when you talked about before the pandemic, God had already begun to deal with me. And he was dealing with all of us about some different things. In some way, Elijah was, when we would talk, he'd be like, hey, man, I'm just waiting for you.
Yeah.
You know, and so to some degree, transitions are necessary. They're needed. It really, to some degree, forces us out of our caves where we've been hiding. Some of us say, well, I haven't been hiding. I've been doing my regular life. Yeah, but you've been hiding. You've been hiding from assignment. You've been hiding from that next word, that next phase of life. You've been hiding from that next season. And so God is forcing us out of these corners where we've been hiding and putting us into a place where we have to make some decisions.
Yeah.
You know, we have to make some choices. We either on the Lord's side or we're not.
Yep.
We either love our families or we don't.
That's true.
We're either going to be good people or we're not.
Yep.
I mean, the times are forcing our hands, you know, and the Lord's return is soon.
Yes.
You know, if we don't believe anything else, we better believe that. So, listen, thank you for tuning in to this discussion today on transitions. We're going to be back again next time. We're going to wrap up this topic on transitions. We want you to join us. We hope this has been a blessing to you. Stay prayerful. Keep your eyes focused in on God. God bless you.